All right, well, the ENTJ is insisting that I have to make a follow-up video about my first Thanksgiving. And I thought, well, I never really did a follow-up video for my first Halloween either, so I guess I should combine the two. It's a nice little rainy day here in Austin, Texas, and we are walking the dog in the rain like smart people, but I do have coffee, so there is some good news. So anyways, yesterday's Thanksgiving, it's quite remarkable people I met. There was probably, what, 25 people in the house?
At least.
25 people, you know, ranging from 80 years old to 5 years old, you know, and
There was a baby, a couple babies.
oh, there was some babies? Okay, I'm not really a baby person, so I really wasn't paying attention to that. Anyways, I was warmly welcomed by a family. This is in country part of Texas. Everyone had nice, strong Texas accents.
Caldwell, Texas.
Caldwell, Texas.
Never been there before.
Never been there before.
Either of us.
And to give some, like, a little bit of history of the situation was, the ENTJ met his cousin, correct?
I've met her before, but she invited me to this.
Well, I wouldn't call them religious. Maybe a few of them were, but everywhere I go now, everyone a platform for, like, echo chambers, essentially. You know, and so I think, like, for instance, a lot of people like ask me questions like, how could a libertarian like you be dating a Bernie bro? And I'm like, well, in all honesty, and we've had the conversations about this, right? We kind of want the same things.
I'm not a Bernie bro.
He's a Bernie bro. He's in denial of the cult he's in.
There's no such thing as a Bernie bro.
It's a derogatory Hillary Clinton comment.
Yeah, she created that.
Okay, so she created the birther movement and Bernie bros. Man, she's just creating everything. And she kills like 70 people.
Yeah, in the basement of a pizza place.
But this chick's an INTJ. She's just busy as hell. She's got that NI hero. You can't mess with her.
That's why she's got that Joker smile all over.
Well, anyways, and so it's like, well, we both kind of want the same thing, but it's kind of like, you know, just different ways of getting there. And so it's not that big of a deal, in all honesty. And so likewise, you know, I'm not a witness no more. And there's no reason to have that us versus them mentality and psychoness, you know. And the same thing applies to Halloween. Most people saw my video of the Halloween, me trick-or-treating and crap. And I didn't know those people. I mean, he did, but I'm trying to leave him anonymous on my channel, by the way. That's why I'm calling him ENTJ and not using his name. Anyways, because, you know, he is practicing law, and so there's different reasons for that. Of course there is. What if you need to get some JW clients, and they'll be like, oh, you can't talk to him. He's gay. He's dating an apostate. Okay. So yeah, there is discrimination still, and, you know, in some situations like that. Where am I getting I'm getting distracted. And so, like, with Halloween, you know, those people were super supportive. Everywhere I go, I get support. And so if you're like that's all about Jungian psychology and finding different people. And, you know, the point of 16 types isn't to categorize us so we can get into little echo chambers of abstracts versus sensors, or, you know, NTs versus NFs and SJs versus SPs and things like that. That's not important. I was in a room. I didn't type anybody as an abstract yesterday, and not one person. The